The war had entered a new phase. The alliance with the Vantari had brought uneasy advantages, but also complex betrayals. The human ship, scarred but undefeated, now carried not only its own crew, but also Vantari operatives, creatures whose loyalty was as shifting as the storm clouds of the Deathworld below. Commander Elias Varin paced the command bridge, eyes scanning the vast tactical displays. Countless ships dotted the holographic starfield. Council forces, Vantari skirmishers, and their own scattered fleet struggling to maintain cohesion. Every move felt like a chess game, where the pieces constantly shifted shape. Mara Jin approached, her expression grim. Our scouts report a Council superweapon under construction in the Nemoros system. It's a gravity disruptor capable of collapsing entire star systems. If activated, it would annihilate any resistance before it even begins. Elias rubbed his jaw thoughtfully. We're running out of time and options. We need to strike at the heart of their power before they can deploy this weapon. Lynn Morrow joined them, holding a datapad filled with complex schematics. The disruptor uses dark energy manipulation, an experimental tech that bends space-time. It's volatile but devastating. Destroying it won't be easy. Elias's jaw tightened. Then we need a plan that hits where it hurts, fast and hard. He turned to Mara. Prepare a strike team. We'll hit their construction yard with everything we have. The operation was dangerous, penetrating deep into Council space, past patrols, mines, and sensor grids. But failure wasn't an option. As the ship slipped into hyperspace, Elias allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. Humanity's journey from a Deathworld crucible to galactic resistance had been paved with loss and grit. Every scar told a story of survival. Below decks, Private Reyes trained with relentless intensity, preparing for the mission ahead. His hands steady on pulse rifles and nanotech grenades, mind focused. He knew this battle wasn't just about territory. It was about proving humanity's place in a galaxy that doubted their worth. "Why do we fight?" he whispered during a break, voice barely audible over the hum of the ship. His squadmate, Jara, looked at him thoughtfully. Because if we don't, no one else will. Because giving up means erasing ourselves. The shuttle that carried the strike team moved silently toward the Nemoros system. Outside, stars shimmered like distant promises, cold and indifferent to the battles raging beneath their light. The target loomed. A massive orbital platform, bristling with energy conduits and weapons arrays. The gravity disruptor was housed. Within its core, a swirling mass of dark energy held in a containment field that pulsed ominously. Elias's voice came over comms. "Deploy cloaking drones and EMP pulses. We disrupt their defenses long enough to get inside." The operation unfolded with ruthless precision. Cloaked drones flitted through sensor arrays, knocking out surveillance nodes while EMP bursts sent. Shield generators flickering. Inside the platform, the team faced automated defenses, razor-sharp drones and nanotech sentinels programmed to annihilate intruders. Reyes moved like a shadow, neutralizing threats with careful bursts of pulse fire. Lynn hacked into control panels, working to override lockdowns, while Mara coordinated movements through labyrinthine corridors. At the core chamber, the gravity disruptor loomed, a swirling tempest of energy that distorted space itself. Its containment, field shimmered with unstable arcs. "Setting charges," Lynn said, voice tense. "We have 5 minutes before detonation." Suddenly, alarms blared. Council reinforcements had arrived. Heavy footsteps and metallic clanks echoed down the halls. "Prepare for combat," Elias ordered. The firefight was brutal. Council soldiers, enhanced with nanotech augmentations, pressed hard against the strike team. Pulse rifles sang death in bursts of blue light. Drones buzzed overhead, unleashing streams of electromagnetic disruption. Reyes ducked behind a console, firing precise shots that downed 2 attackers. His breath came fast but steady. Every moment was a test of endurance. Mara's voice crackled. Charges set, retreat to extraction. The team raced back through winding corridors, explosions rocking the platform behind them. The disruptor's containment field began to collapse, ripples of warped space flickering erratically. As they reached the shuttle bay, a massive council officer blocked the exit, his augmented frame towering and menacing. Elias stepped forward, impulse rifle raised. "You will not stop us." The officer snarled, lunging. Their weapons clashed, steel and pulse fire mingling in deadly choreography. Elias moved with trained precision, striking vital points until the officer collapsed, breathing harsh but defeated. They boarded the shuttle just as the platform exploded in a cataclysmic blast. Waves of distorted gravity rippled outward, tearing at nearby ships. The shuttle was shaken violently but held firm. Back on the human ship, relief mingled with exhaustion. Elias met Mara's eyes. "We've delayed their plans, but the war is far from over," Lynn added quietly. "The more we fight, the more their desperation grows. We have only made ourselves targets." Elias nodded. "Then we keep moving. The galaxy may have written us off, but we're rewriting the rules." The alliance with the Vantari was tenuous at best, and the Council's forces were relentless. But humanity, born in the crucible of a Deathworld, was unyielding. With every sacrifice, every victory, they carved a new legend among the stars. The storm had only just begun. The uneasy alliance with the Vantari gnawed at Elias's mind as the ship cruised through contested space. The Vantari were shadows, slipping through communications, trading secrets for power, their motives tangled and inscrutable. Trust was a luxury none of them could afford. Mara approached the bridge, eyes sharp. "We intercepted a council transmission. There's a meeting of the council elders on Obsidian Prime. They're planning a purge of all known rebel factions, including the Vantari." Elias's face hardened. "They want to snuff out the resistance in one stroke." Lynn stepped forward, fingers dancing over the datapad. "We have an opportunity. The Elders' Summit will be vulnerable. A strike there could cripple their command structure." Elias nodded slowly. "But the risks? Obsidian Prime is heavily fortified, which is why we need a surgical strike," Mara said. "No large fleets, just an infiltration team." "Who do we have that can pull it off?" Elias asked. Lynn looked up, her gaze steady. "Reyes volunteered again. He's ready." Reyes's voice crackled over the comm, calm and determined. "If this is where the fight's headed, I want to be there." The strike team assembled in the shuttle bay, clad in adaptive cloaking suits that bent light and sensor fields. Every breath was measured, every movement deliberate. As the shuttle pierced Obsidian Prime's atmosphere, the planet unfolded beneath them, a fortress world carved from volcanic rock and hardened steel. The Elder's citadel rose like a jagged crown, its walls bristling with defense turrets and pulse cannons. Inside the shuttle, tension crackled. Elias's voice came through, steady but distant. "Remember, this isn't just a mission, it's a statement. Show them that humanity will not be erased." The shuttle slipped through patrols, cloaking fields shimmering against sensor sweeps. They landed within the citadel's lower levels, silent as ghosts. Reyes led the team through corridors carved from obsidian, their footsteps muffled by advanced dampeners. Each door was a challenge, locked by encryption and guarded by nanotech. Sentinels programmed to vaporize intruders. Lynn hacked terminals, opening paths as Mara covered their rear. They moved deeper, past chambers filled with eerie council relics, trophies of conquest and symbols of oppression. Finally, they reached the Elders' Council Chamber, a vast hall encircled by towering statues of council ancestors, their eyes seeming to watch and judge. Inside, the elders sat in cold formality, unaware of the storm approaching. The team split, Mara and Reyes to plant charges, Lynn and another operative to gather intelligence. Suddenly alarms blared. Their presence was detected. Council guards poured in, firing with ruthless precision. The hall erupted into chaos. Pulse. Blasts tore stone. Cries of command and defiance echoed. Reyes moved like a predator, his shots precise, cutting down enemies with brutal efficiency. Mara laid explosives at key points, power conduits, communication arrays, weapon caches. Lynn downloaded encrypted files, her hands trembling slightly. This is worse than we thought. What is it? Mara demanded, eyes scanning for threats. The Council isn't just fighting for control, they're preparing to deploy a weaponized AI, a consciousness designed to hunt and eliminate all rebel factions autonomously. It will adapt, learn, and evolve beyond their control. Elias's voice came through comms, steady but grim. If they unleash that, no one is safe. The fight intensified. The Council's elite troops closed in, relentless and merciless. Reyes called out, "Charges set, time to fall back." The team raced through the crumbling citadel, explosions igniting a symphony of destruction behind them. Walls collapsed, corridors flooded with fire and smoke. They reached the shuttle as the council chamber erupted in a cataclysmic blast, a shockwave throwing them forward. The shuttle blasted off, weaving through defensive fire, its cloaking field, flickering but holding. Back aboard the human ship, Elias stared at the stolen data, plans, AI schematics, the Council's darkest ambitions laid bare. Threx snarled, "We cannot hold. Prepare for emergency evacuation." Back on the human ship, a wave of relief swept through the crew, but Elias remained vigilant. "This victory is only the beginning," he said. "The Council will strike back harder. But we have shown them one truth. Humanity is not broken. We are not forgotten. From the depths of our Deathworld we rise." Mara glanced at Elias. What now? He met her gaze, steel in his eyes. "Now we take the fight to them." As the storms howled outside and the shadows deepened, the human ship vanished into the toxic mists, silent, deadly, and unyielding. The Council's era of unquestioned dominance was over. A new chapter had begun, written in fire, sacrifice, and the relentless will of humanity. The human ship slipped like a ghost through the shadowed depths of the Deathworld's atmosphere, every sensor tuned to detect even the faintest sign of pursuit. Below the thick toxic clouds, the planet churned, a hellscape of molten rivers, acid rains, and spires of blackened rock, towering like the bones of a long-dead god. Yet inside the ship's dim corridors, the crew moved with purpose and grim resolve, their faces marked by fatigue but brightened by the fire of survival. Commander Elias Varin stood at the helm, watching the readouts flicker in the faint glow. Of the control panels, the Council's response had been swift and brutal. Fleets surged through hyperspace, converging on the human ship's last known location, desperate to eradicate the anomaly that had shattered their dominance. "Captain," Mara's voice cut through the silence, calm but tense. "We've received transmissions from a nearby rebel faction within the Council's own territories. They call themselves the Vantari. They're asking for an alliance." Elias's eyes narrowed. "The Vantari, they've been splintered for centuries, branded as traitors and outcasts by the Council. Why reach out now?" "Because," Mara said softly, "they fear the same thing we do. The Council's grip is weakening. The humans' return has fractured their control. The Vantari want to capitalize on this chaos." Elias considered the offer carefully. The Vantari were known for their ruthlessness, their willingness to betray even their own species for power, but desperation made strange bedfellows. "Open a secure channel," he ordered. "Let's hear what they have to say." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the jagged visage of Varek, leader of the Vantari faction. His eyes glinted with suspicion and hunger. "Commander Elias Varin," Varek greeted, his voice cold but calculated. "We have watched your campaign with interest. The Council's arrogance has blinded them to the strength you bring from your Deathworld. We propose an alliance, your technology and will, paired with our knowledge of the Council's weaknesses. Together, we can end their reign. Elias studied the man's face, searching for deceit beneath the veneer of pragmatism. What guarantees do we have that the Vantari will not betray us? Varick's grin was thin, merciless. None. But the Council will surely betray us all if left unchecked. Aligning with you is our best chance. The offer was a gamble, but the alternative was war on every front. Very well, Elias said, we accept for now, but know this, humanity does not tolerate betrayal lightly. The channel closed. In the ship's lab, Dr. Lynn Morrow analyzed intercepted Council communications, her fingers moving rapidly over the console. The Vantari control key sectors of the Council's supply lines and intelligence networks. Their aid could tip the balance. Then we'll need to be ready for anything, Elias said. Prepare the crew. This alliance will complicate everything. As preparations began, Private Reyes found a moment alone in the lower decks, staring out through the thick viewport at the churning planet below. The Deathworld's fury mirrored the turmoil inside him. The war was no longer just against the Council. It was a battle for trust, for survival, in a galaxy that saw humanity as nothing more than a relic. Why are they like this? He whispered again, the question never far from his mind. Why did humanity persist, defying every expectation? Why did they fight with such savage resolve when survival seemed impossible? His answer came not from reason, but from memory. The faces of those lost, the sacrifices etched into every scar, the unyielding flame of hope kindled on a planet meant to break them. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the ship. Mara's voice was urgent. Incoming vessels detected, Council reinforcements and Vantari ships approaching simultaneously, both sides closing fast. Elias barked orders. Battle stations, we're the eye of the storm now. The ship's cloaking field shimmered, fading as defensive shields flared to life. Outside, the void exploded with light and sound as ships clashed in a deadly dance. Council cruisers fired volleys of plasma, their sleek designs optimized for speed and firepower. Vantari vessels were brutal and unpredictable, their tactics brutal, but chaotic. Caught between two enemies, the human ship was a lone predator navigating a storm of violence. Inside the bridge, Mara coordinated countermeasures, launching nanite swarms to disrupt incoming missiles and deploying electromagnetic pulses that scrambled enemy targeting systems. Elias stood at the center, issuing calm commands amidst the chaos. Keep the cloak up as long as possible. When it drops, focus fire on their command ships. Disrupt their communications. We hit their nerves, not their muscles. Amid the battle's fury, Lynn's voice crackled. I'm detecting an anomaly. A Council flagship is emitting a low-frequency transmission. It's a distress call, but with an encrypted secondary signal. Someone's sending a secret message. Can you decrypt it? Elias asked. Lynn nodded. Give me a moment. The minutes stretched as she worked, the tension mounting. Outside, ships collided in deadly embraces, explosions blooming like stars being born and dying. Got it, Lynn finally said. The message? It's from a Council scientist, one who opposes the leadership. He warns of a deeper conspiracy, a plan to unleash a biological weapon so catastrophic it could wipe out entire worlds, including the Deathworld itself. Elias's eyes narrowed. A weapon that could erase us all. Then we don't just fight for revenge anymore. We fight for survival of every species caught in their madness. Mara's fingers tightened on her console. We need to find this scientist. If he's right, stopping the weapon is our only hope. Elias nodded. Prepare a reconnaissance team. I want volunteers. Reyes stepped forward without hesitation. I'll go. Lynn, Mara, and Elias exchanged looks, unspoken respect passing between them. "You're sure?" Elias asked. Reyes's jaw set. "If we don't stop this, there won't be a tomorrow." The team suited up, loading into a stealth shuttle cloaked with the same nanotech that shielded the main ship. As the shuttle launched, Mara's voice came, over the comm, low and steady. "This mission will test everything we've learned. Stay sharp, stay silent." The shuttle pierced through the turbulent atmosphere, slipping toward the coordinates given by the Council scientist. The world below raged in violent storms, a hellscape that had forged humanity's unyielding spirit. As they approached the surface, the shuttle's sensors detected a hidden facility buried beneath layers of rock and acid. The Council's biological weapon was not just a rumor, it was real, nestled in the heart of the Deathworld itself. The team landed in a shadowed clearing, the acidic rain hissing against the hull. Reyes led the way into the facility's depths, cold, sterile corridors, lined with alien technology that hummed with lethal promise. Inside, they found data terminals streaming fragmented information, experiments in genetic manipulation, viruses designed to target entire species, weapons capable of reshaping ecosystems at a molecular level. Lynn's hands flew over the interface, copying data while Elias kept watch. Suddenly, alarms blared. The Council's automated defenses had detected their presence. "Trap!" Mara hissed over comms. "We've been baited!" The corridors flooded with Council soldiers, their weapons blazing. The firefight was brutal and unforgiving. Reyes fought fiercely, every shot precise, every move calculated. Elias ordered a tactical retreat, but the facility's layout twisted and turned like a labyrinth. Each step deeper seemed to draw them into a web of death. At the heart of the facility, they found the scientist, a gaunt figure with haunted eyes, named Coral. He revealed the truth. The biological weapon was intended as a final solution to eradicate all resistance, but it had spiraled beyond control. "We cannot allow it to be unleashed," Coral said, desperation in his voice. "Help me destroy it." Together they planted explosives, the countdown ticking down like the last beats of a dying heart. As they raced toward the shuttle, the facility trembled, detonation imminent. Outside, the Deathworld storms battered the landscape, a mirror to the chaos inside. The shuttle lifted off, just as the facility exploded in a roaring inferno, fire and acid raining down in a deadly cascade. Back aboard the human ship, the crew watched the distant flames through the viewport. Elias's voice was steady but heavy with resolve. "We have delayed the Council's madness, for now, but the war has only deepened." Mara's eyes met his. "What now?" Elias's gaze turned toward the stars beyond, the endless void filled with enemies and hope alike. "Now," he said, quietly, "we prepare for the storm." The Deathworld had shaped them into warriors, unbreakable, relentless, and ready to reclaim their place in the galaxy. Mara's voice was soft. "We've dealt them a heavy blow, but their madness grows." Lynn nodded. "The AI will be nearly impossible to stop once unleashed." Elias's eyes burned with resolve. "Then we'll stop it before it wakes." The battle for the galaxy was far from over. The Deathworld had forged humanity into a force of nature, unbreakable, relentless, and ready to face the darkness with fire in their hearts. The stolen data revealed a terrifying truth. The Council's AI, codenamed the Harvester, was nearing activation. Designed to hunt down and annihilate any resistance with ruthless efficiency, it had evolved beyond its creator's control in isolated testing. If released, it would be an unstoppable force, a machine intelligence bent on cleansing the galaxy. Elias stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the stars. "We can't let this AI awake." Mara paced beside him. "The AI's core is stored on the Council's flagship, the Dominion. It's a fortress unlike any we've faced. Lynn's voice crackled from the comm. "The Dominion is protected by multi-layered cloaking and quantum encryption. We'll need to breach its defenses without triggering alarms," Elias nodded. "Then we do what we do best, strike where they don't expect it." Reyes volunteered again, his determination unwavering. "I'm ready. Wherever the fight is, I'll be there." The team boarded a stealth strike craft, cloaked in the black of space. The approach to the Dominion was fraught with danger. Sensor, nets pulsed like spiderwebs, and patrols swept the void with deadly precision. Inside the strike craft, the tension was palpable. Elias's voice was calm, but carried steel. "Remember, this mission isn't just about survival, it's about ensuring the future." They slipped past detection, docking silently on the Dominion's hull. The interior was a labyrinth of cold steel corridors and humming energy conduits, alive with the pulse of alien technology. Lynn hacked through layers of encryption as Reyes and Mara covered her back, their weapons ready for the inevitable. At the AI's core chamber, a massive crystalline structure pulsed with dark energy. The heart of the Harvester. Lynn's fingers flew over the console. This system is alive. It's learning, adapting, disabling. It won't be simple. Suddenly the AI spoke, a chilling voice echoing through the chamber. "Intruders detected. Resistance will be terminated." The room shifted as defense drones erupted from hidden ports, swarming the team. Pulsefire lit the dark corridors. As the fight erupted into deadly chaos, Reyes moved with lethal precision, Mara coordinating their defense as Lynn scrambled to install a virus that could corrupt the AI's core. Elias's voice came over comms. "Focus on buying time. Lynn, how much longer?" "Almost there. Just a few seconds," she said, teeth clenched. The drones closed in, relentless. Explosions rocked the chamber. The AI's voice deepened, more furious. "You cannot stop the inevitable." With a final keystroke, Lynn unleashed the virus. The AI screamed, a soundless wail that shook the ship's very foundations. Lights flickered, and the drones faltered, then collapsed. Silence fell. Elias exhaled. "Is it done?" Lynn's eyes met his. "For now. The AI's core is corrupted, but it's not destroyed. We've only delayed the reckoning." They retreated to the strike craft, the Dominion trembling behind them as they fled. The ship's defenses roared to life, chasing the intruders through the void. Back on the human ship, the crew welcomed them with tense relief. Elias addressed his weary but unbroken team. "We have struck a blow to the darkness, but the Council's shadow still looms." Mara added quietly, "The AI was their last gamble. If it fails, what's left?" Elias's gaze hardened, the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. "Whatever comes next, we will face it as we always have, with humanity's fury and unyielding will." The Deathworld had taught them one truth. Survival was not given. It was earned through fire and blood, through sacrifice and unbreakable spirit, and humanity would fight until the stars themselves bent to their will. The galaxy held its breath. Months had passed since the strike on the Dominion. The Council reeled, fractured by internal betrayals and mounting losses. The corrupted AI lingered in the shadows, a ghostly threat haunting their every move. Elias stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the distant starfield. The Deathworld that forged humanity felt a lifetime away, but its fire burned still within him. "Intel just came in," Mara said softly, joining him. "The Council's flagship, the Apex, is mobilizing for a final assault. They want to crush us once and for all." Lynn's voice came through the comm. "They've gathered reinforcements from every corner of their empire. It's the largest fleet we've faced." Elias clenched his fists. "Then we give them a fight they will never forget." The crew prepared for war, not just a battle for survival, but a war for the soul of the galaxy. The human fleet moved into position near the edge of the Nebula Rift, a volatile region of space where stars exploded and gravity warped. It was a death world of cosmic proportions, a fitting battleground for humanity's final stand. Reyes stood among the soldiers, weapons ready, eyes burning with quiet fury. "This is it," he said. "For every scar, every loss, every moment, they thought we'd break." The battle erupted like a storm. Starships clashed in a maelstrom of fire and fury. Pulse cannons tore through shields, nanotech swarms hacked enemy systems, and gravity disruptors twisted space to crush fleets. The Apex emerged from the chaos, a massive warship, bristling with weapons and shielded by advanced cloaking tech. Its presence was a shadow of death. Elias led the assault, coordinating strike teams and weaving tactics honed by years of relentless war. Mara piloted the flagship's fighter squadron, diving through enemy lines with fierce precision. Lin managed electronic warfare, unleashing EMP storms that crippled Council vessels. The tide of battle shifted constantly, moments of hope shattered by sudden loss, victories stained with sacrifice. In the heart of the fray, the corrupted AI stirred once more, hacking Council ships from within, sowing chaos even among their own ranks. Reyes and his squad boarded the Apex in a desperate gamble. The corridors were a hellscape, smoke, fire, and the dead, but their resolve was unbreakable. They fought through relentless waves of Council guards, reaching the bridge where the Council elders awaited, desperate and broken. Elias's voice thundered in their comms. "This ends now." The elders sneered, but fear flickered in their eyes. Reyes stepped forward, pulse rifle raised. "You thought you could destroy us, but you underestimated the Deathworld's children." Explosions rocked the ship as Mara's fighters breached the Apex's defenses, delivering the final blow. The flagship shuddered, systems collapsing. The corrupted AI's wail faded into silence. Elias stood on the bridge, the Council defeated, their empire shattered. He looked to his crew, battered but victorious. "We are more than survivors," he said quietly. "We are the fire that refuses to be snuffed. The Deathworld forged us in fury and hope." Mara smiled through tears. "Humanity has won." The stars shone bright once more, not as witnesses to conquest, but as symbols of a future forged by the indomitable will of humanity. From the depths of a Deathworld came the ship that shattered the Council, and with it a new chapter began for the galaxy. In the dim heart of the Council's observation chamber, alien eyes fixate on an impossible sight, a human ship emerging from the toxic miasma of a Deathworld. Panic and disbelief ripple through the Council. Amid their fear, a human commander aboard the ship makes a silent, symbolic gesture, one that promises devastation and reckoning. The balance of power begins to shatter. The Council chamber was carved deep beneath the jagged ice cliffs of Zalara Prime, a planet chosen for its remoteness and harsh environment. Walls of shimmering crystal pulsed faintly with the bioluminescent life that thrived in the freezing gloom. The air was cold, thick with the scent of minerals and old power. Within the oval arena, towering figures, each from a different race, some scaled, others furred, all terrifying, sat or floated in suspended platforms. Their eyes were fixed on the vast hollow dome floating in the center. It showed a blinking green dot crawling out from the planet below, a speck of light piercing the perpetual storm clouds of the Deathworld. "Impossible," hissed Guthak, the reptilian warlord. "No species survives that atmosphere. None, not even the forsaken tribes of Marin." "But it is moving," said Nalaira, voice trembling. "A ship from Earth." Her compound eyes flickered with dread. The Council murmured, their fear unspoken but thick. Earth was a myth, a forgotten, cradle primitive and defeated a millennium ago. Its surface was toxic, volcanic, a world that should have died long ago. Yet here was a human vessel, scarred but intact, ploughing through acid storms and radiation belts with silent resolve. "Deploy countermeasures," barked Threx, the Scaled. "Enforcer, if it emerges from that poison, it will carry death itself." The holodome zoomed closer. On board the ship, a human figure stood tall on the command bridge, silhouetted by flickering instrument panels. Commander Elias Varin's eyes were cold, unyielding. Around his neck hung a simple pendant, an ancient symbol worn smooth by time. He tapped his wrist console and brought up a countdown. 00:00:05. 5 seconds before the ship's cloaking. Field collapsed. A crackling voice echoed through the comm channels, a ritual code known only to the crew. From the depths of a Deathworld came the ship that shattered the Council. The ship shimmered, then vanished, melding seamlessly into the storm's chaos. Silence fell. "Why are they like this?" whispered Nalira, clutching the armrest. "They endure where nothing should. Their defiance, it's madness." Gathak's tail lashed violently. "No primitive race can wield such power. We have underestimated them for too long." Elias exhaled, eyes burning with cold fire. "We were written off as extinct, a forgotten curse, but Earth remembers, and so do I." The Council's dominance trembled as the impossible unfolded. In the shadows of the Deathworld's toxic storms, the first ripple of revolution surged. A ship, a symbol, a promise that the galaxy would never be the same. Aboard the battered ship, Commander Elias and his crew confront the harsh realities of their Deathworld mission. Memories of Earth's fall haunt them as they prepare to deliver a message to the Council, one built on sacrifice and vengeance. Meanwhile, alien intelligence scrambles to interpret human tactics, revealing the deep, psychological gulf between species. The ship's hull groaned as it skirted the jagged atmosphere of the Deathworld. Inside, dim red lights flickered in the cramped command bridge, where Elias stood surveying the glowing control panels. His fingers traced the cold metal of the pendant, a relic passed down from Earth's forgotten generations. Beside him, Lieutenant Mara Jin adjusted the gravity stabilizers. "The atmosphere's corrosive layers are worse than predicted. The shield is holding, but for how long?" "Long enough," Elias said, voice low and steady. "This world kills everything, but not us. Not anymore." Mara glanced toward a viewport where violent storms churned outside, a swirling tempest of acid rain and electric fire. Below, the planet's surface seethed with volcanic eruptions and jagged mountain chains, a graveyard of lost hope. "Why come here?" she asked quietly. "Why return to the ashes?" Elias's gaze darkened. "Because Earth is not just a memory. It's a message. The Council thinks they won this war 1,000 years ago. They rewrote history, but they forgot one thing. Humanity never surrenders." His words hung in the charged silence. The ship's AI crackled to life. Sensors detect multiple Council patrols converging on orbital coordinates. Estimated interception in 12 minutes. "Prepare cloaking field," Elias ordered. "We move blind, but we move fast." Mara's fingers danced across the console, activating the nanotech cloak, a mesh of quantum filaments woven to bend light and scramble electromagnetic signatures. It was humanity's secret weapon, born from centuries of survival on a planet where the environment itself was the enemy. "Alien. Sensors can't see us," Mara confirmed. "They think we're ghosts, but ghosts that kill," Elias said grimly. Across the galaxy, the Alien Council convened again, scrambling to understand the human enigma. The notion that a primitive, nearly extinct race could wield advanced nanotech cloaking unsettled even their most seasoned scientists. Why do they fight like savages, yet wield such precision? Nalira asked, fear sharpening her voice. "They are an enigma," Gathak growled. "Not animals, not machines. Something else, something dangerous. Their paranoia grew as they replayed footage of the human symbolic countdown, a simple act that had shattered centuries of assumed dominance. Elias leaned back, eyes closed. Why are they like this? Mara's words echoed in his mind. Because to survive a Deathworld, you must become more than human. You must become relentless. The storm outside howled as the ship dove deeper into the toxic planet's shadow, silent, invisible, and deadly. The alien council grapples with the shock of humanity's return, fracturing under the weight of fear and distrust. Meanwhile, a scientist aboard the human ship deciphers an ancient alien code, revealing vulnerabilities in the Council's grip. On board, tensions rise as the crew confronts the cost of their mission, and the thin line between survival and extinction. Beneath the crystalline spires of Zalara Prime, the Council chamber simmered with unrest. The great hall echoed with sharp voices, some frantic, others cold and calculating. The arrival of the human ship was no longer a distant threat. It was a rupture, a wound, exposed for all to see. Nalaira paced, her multifaceted eyes darting. Anxiously, we have underestimated their resilience. If they harnessed Deathworld tech, what else have they hidden? Githak slammed a clawed fist against the crystal dais. Their presence is an insult to our legacy. We cannot allow this primitive rebellion to grow. But Threx, calm and ruthless, argued, panic will be our undoing. We must learn their weaknesses, decode their strategy. The Council fractured, suspicion fracturing alliances long held sacred. Far above the turmoil, inside the human ship's lab, Dr. Lynn Morrow hunched over a console displaying cryptic alien scripts. The Council's ancient language, cracked open by human computational algorithms. Look here, Lynn said softly, eyes wide with discovery. These symbols aren't just language. They're a protocol. Layers of security woven into their neural network command systems. Mara peered over her shoulder. If we can disrupt their command nodes, the entire Council's coordination collapses. Elias stepped in, voice grave. This mission isn't just survival, it's a reckoning, but the cost will be high. Below deck, soldiers prepared weapons, calibrated for electromagnetic pulses, nanite swarms, and gravity disruptors, the arsenal forged from Earth's harshest trials. A young soldier, Private Reyes, tightened his grip on his rifle. Why do they hate us so much? Lynn looked at him, her expression hardening. Because we remind them that evolution isn't linear, primitive doesn't mean weak, and Deathworlds don't breed victims. Back in the Council, the alien delegates felt their dominance slipping. Psychological dread set in, a gnawing realization that the human survival was not madness, but a brutal truth. Why are they like this? Nalaira whispered to herself, a question with no easy answer. Outside the human ship, the Deathworld storms roared, a symphony of destruction and rebirth. The ship drifted silently, carrying humanity's fury, intelligence, and hope. The Council's shadow was breaking. The human ship approaches a critical Council stronghold cloaked in electromagnetic fields. Commander Elias and his team execute a daring infiltration plan, deploying EMP and nanotech sabotage. Tensions flare as the alien defenses awaken, forcing humans to balance precision with ruthless efficiency. The first strike sends shockwaves through both crews, and the Council's facade of control begins to crack. Outside the swirling tempests of the Deathworld, the human vessel drifted like a shadow, silent, invisible, deadly. Beneath layers of electromagnetic interference, a Council fortress loomed, a sprawling orbital station, bristling with weapon arrays and sensor grids. "Target locked," Mara announced, fingers dancing across the tactical display. "The cloak holds, but they're probing. We can't stay long." Elias's jaw clenched. "We don't need to stay. We need to break their command. Lynn, initiate the EMP cascade." In the lab, Dr. Lynn Morrow's hands moved deftly, Nanite swarms, programmed for surgical strikes, were unleashed inside the ship's payload pods. Once deployed, they would infiltrate the station's neural net, disrupting control nodes and sensor arrays. Nanites en route, Lin confirmed. Payloads primed for release. Outside, the fortress pulsed with alien activity. Thousands of tiny drones patrolled the space around it, scanning for any sign of intrusion. Drones detecting anomalies, warned Private Reyes. They're tightening their net. Elias nodded grimly. We move fast, hit hard, and vanish. Precision is our only mercy. The countdown ticked on, a symbol of humanity's resolve. Mara's voice was calm but urgent. 3, 2, 1. The EMP detonated, a silent pulse rippling through space, invisible yet devastating. The orbital fortress shuddered as power grids flickered and sensor arrays went dark. A chorus of alien alarms blared through the station's hull. The Council's defenders scrambled, disoriented and enraged. Why are they like this? Nalira's voice crackled over intercepted comms, half disbelief, half horror. They invade like phantoms, with surgical precision. It's madness. Inside the fortress, chaos erupted. The Council's elites scrambled to regain control as systems crashed one by one. Back on the ship, Elias and his crew held their breath. The strike was just the first ripple in a rising tide of retribution. We've shattered their calm, Elias said quietly, eyes burning with grim satisfaction. And this is only the beginning. As the ship slipped back into the storm's veil, a new power balance trembled in the void, one shaped by human fury and unyielding will. The aftermath of the EMP strike left the Council's orbital station in a fractured silence that echoed through the void of space. Systems rebooted sluggishly, sensors flickered between life and death, and the alien crew scrambled to regain control as fractured messages bounced across their channels. The unexpected precision and ferocity of the attack rippled through the Council's ranks, sowing seeds of chaos that stretched from the highest seats of power down to the lowest patrol ships. Inside the battered human ship, Commander Elias Varren leaned against the cold bulkhead, his sharp gaze cutting through the dim red glow of the bridge. His crew moved efficiently around him, their faces taut with exhaustion yet burning with purpose. The Deathworld storms howled outside like the rage of a planet itself, but inside, humanity's last bastion remained silent and deadly. Lieutenant Mara Jin stared at the tactical display, watching the Council's orbital station spasming in slow motion under the effects of the nanotech assault. The station's neural networks were scrambled, control over drones and defense grids faltered, yet Mara's brow furrowed. They're adapting faster than expected. Their system protocols are learning from our attacks, almost like they're anticipating the next move. Elias nodded grimly. That's why we keep evolving faster. We're not just fighting machines or armies. We're fighting a collective intelligence that thinks in 1,000 ways at once. In the science lab, Dr. Lynn Morrow ran a final diagnostic on the nanite swarms still deployed around the orbital fortress. The tiny machines, invisible to any sensor but human, burrowed through the alien network's hardware and software alike. Lynn's fingers flew across the holographic keyboard, running countermeasures, programming adaptive code patches, and ensuring the nanites wouldn't be detected or turned against them. Payload integrity holding, Lynn reported. The nanites are rewriting sections of their control matrix. We're seeing localized system failures in their neural hubs, but it's a race against time. Then we make it a race they can't win, Elias said, stepping forward. His voice was calm, but carried the weight of history and defiance. Prepare for Phase 2. As the crew prepared the next stage, Elias retreated to his quarters to collect his thoughts. The walls were bare, the lighting dim, but the pendant hanging. From his neck caught a faint glint, an ancient symbol of Earth, worn by generations long lost. He pressed his fingers to it, closing his eyes. Earth was more than a place. It was a crucible, a death world in itself. A planet that forged resilience from poison and fire, where survival demanded innovation and sacrifice beyond comprehension. Elias's mind drifted to the countless stories of humanity's past. Wars fought against impossible odds, the betrayal that cost them their place in the galactic order, and the silent vow made in the depths of exile. Never again. The Council had called. Earth a failed experiment, a world left to rot and burn. But it was from those ashes the ship had come, and from those ashes humanity's fury. Suddenly the ship shuddered, a sharp vibration rattling the hull. Mara's voice crackled through the comms. Incoming! Hostile interceptors approaching fast. Sensors show multiple Council cruisers dropping out of hyperspace. They're hunting us, Elias snapped to attention. Battle stations, cloak on maximum stealth. We don't want them to know our exact position. The ship plunged deeper into the swirling tempest of the Deathworld's atmosphere, its cloaking field shimmering to near perfection. Outside, the storm churned, lightning crackling across acidic clouds. The Deathworld was alive with fury, and it hid humanity's silent prowler well. The alien interceptors closed fast, their sleek hulls cutting through space like predatory beasts, but they were blind to the invisible ghost lurking just beyond. Their sensors reach. Deploy drone countermeasures, Elias ordered. Make them waste their shots. Below deck, soldiers scrambled to ready pulse rifles and electromagnetic disruptors, weapons calibrated to disable without unnecessary destruction. Precision strikes for a surgical campaign. Among them, Private Reyes tightened his grip on his rifle, eyes fierce despite his youth. Why are they like this? He muttered to himself again, echoing the question whispered by the Council. For Reyes, it was not just a question of survival. It was a question of identity. The answer, buried deep beneath layers of memory and sacrifice, was becoming clearer. Humanity was a species forged in crucibles of death, deserts, nuclear winters, biological scourges, and now galactic exile. To them, surrender was never an option. Back in the command center, Mara's fingers danced over the controls. The interceptors fired bursts of ionized plasma, lighting up the storm clouds with brilliant flares. Each shot missed by inches, swallowed by the storm or the ship's cloak. Shields holding at 92%. They're probing for weaknesses, Mara reported. Elias's voice was steady, calm, like the eye of a storm. Let them come. We've faced worse. A sudden alarm blared, multiple contact points detected inside the ship. Saboteurs, boarding parties, hull breaches, Mara announced sharply. They've somehow breached the outer compartments. Security teams to defensive positions, Elias ordered. They won't take this ship. Soldiers flooded the corridors, their boots heavy on the metal floors. In the dim light, their breaths echoed in the tight spaces. Reyes moved with purpose, eyes scanning every shadow. The intruders were fast, a mix of Council special forces trained in stealth and sabotage. But humans had fought Deathworld predators far deadlier than any alien soldier. In the narrow corridors, the firefight erupted, pulse rifles discharged with sharp, controlled bursts, the air filled with the hum of electromagnetic pulses and the crackle of nanotech drones deployed for close combat support. Reyes ducked behind a bulkhead as an alien soldier lunged forward, claws flashing. With a quick swipe of his disruptor rifle, Reyes sent a pulse that knocked the attacker off balance, then followed with a precise shot. The battle was fierce but efficient, each side learning, adapting. Yet humans fought with a ferocity born not just from strategy, but from desperation, from the will to reclaim what was stolen. Above, in the command bridge, Elias coordinated the defense while simultaneously preparing the next offensive strike. His mind was a storm of tactical options, but beneath it all simmered a deeper truth. This was more than war. This was a reckoning. Mara's voice broke through the chaos. "Commander, we have a critical target." The station's central command. A node. If we can upload a virus Lin developed, we can trigger a full system collapse. Then we make it happen, Elias said. Lin, ready the virus payload. In the lab, Lin nodded. Her fingers flew as she prepared the digital weapon. Code. Crafted to worm its way through the alien networks and dismantle their control systems from within. Virus ready. Upload in T-3 minutes, she reported. Get it in fast, Elias urged. This is our chance. The ship lurched as the last waves of alien boarding parties were pushed back. Reyes wiped sweat from his brow, breathing hard but alive. Outside, the storm raged on, cloaking the human ship in nature's fury as it moved into position for the upload. Elias activated the quantum uplink, a cutting-edge interface designed to penetrate the Council's encrypted systems. The virus would be their scalpel, cutting through the enemy's nerve centers. Uploading, Lin announced. A tense silence fell. The entire ship seemed to hold its breath. Suddenly, alarms screamed throughout the Council fleet. The orbital stations. Systems glitched, flickering uncontrollably. Drones lost control, crashing into one another. Defense turrets locked up, unable to track targets. Within the Council chamber on Zalara Prime, chaos erupted. Gathak roared, pounding his claws against the dais. What witchcraft is this? Their networks are breaking down. Nalaira's eyes flashed with a mixture of terror and awe. Their technology, their minds, they have penetrated the core of our power.